Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Well. We got two independent sovereign countries, allegedly, China and Solomon Islands, signing some treaties, some contracts, treaties, let's put it this way, between the two countries. And that upset very much its neighbors, which is United States, which is what, 3,000 miles over the Pacific Ocean, and then Australia and New Zealand. And all these countries were very upset with the treaty that were the document signed between two sovereign independent nations. And even the United States said that they're going to reopen their embassy in the Solomon Islands, something that they closed in 1993. You know what opening an embassy means? Operations, certain kind of field operation, if you know what I mean. And a lot of the security in the area is threatened. These kind of statements were made by the Australians and Americans that the balance and the security of other countries is threatened by in an imbalance of something that the Chinese might have access to Solomon Islands, and they could dock their ships on the islands. So all these guys are upset now, and that reminds me of another incident where a defense organization alliance called NATO pushed forward next to Russia's borders with its expansion. Free expansion. I mean, you can do it. If you want to be a member of NATO, you just apply. You're a free country, right? Isn't that the argument? And the Russians said, guys, back off, it's a red line. I think even this guy said it's a red line. If Australia said if the Chinese military will dock its ships or one ship in a Solomon Island port or harbor, that's a red line. I wonder what Australia will do, but Australia is not going to do anything. Their bosses will have them do something. So let's go and read this article, because the Prime Minister of Solomon Islands, and then everybody's like, no, he's lying. No, it's nothing like that. Let's see what the guy said. So this article comes from Reuters from May 5th, 2022. And this is the title. Australia wants calm in ties with Solomon Islands after invasion claim. Yeah, you want calm now, huh? Sydney. Australia will respond calmly. What about the red line? Remember that red line? To the Solomon Islands after it signed a security pact with China, Prime Minister Scott Morrison said, dismissing a furious response by the leader of the Pacific nation to Western criticism of the deal. Well, maybe they're afraid of something called Western imperialism. Oh, it's not that? Oh, okay, my bad. It's only when people that we don't like do similar things that we start calling them names and try to make a connection between some, countries and their policies from 1940s, 1930s, then we call names. But here, no, it's not nothing like that. It's not our, how do you call it, sphere of influence. It's not our neighborhood. It's our neighborhood here, right? But Ukraine was not Russia's neighborhood, because Russia has no right to ask for security guarantees like Australia or United States or New Zealand have, right? Yes, in a fiery speech to Parliament on Tuesday, Solomon's Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare said, and I'm quoting, "We are threatened with invasion," but he did not name any countries or give evidence for his claim. Well, I don't think we have to look too far to see what he says. Just I posted another video. Just check that video with the statements from the United States, from Australia regarding this treaty between cooperation. It was not only a security treaty. It was about cooperation with economic and other stuff, with policing and stuff like that. So anyway, always minimize the other side's achievements and maximize your achievements. And if you have you failed and you point that it was someone else's fault and you excel, then it was definitely because of your efforts. So it's kind of like this right here. So, and it says here, none of that is true, Morrison said on Thursday, responding to questions from reporters. Well, based on your furious and belligerent, bellicose statements a week ago or so, I think the guy got some ideas. And not only that, the U.S. wanted an embassy now reopened for just, cultural exchange of love and happiness. Defense Minister Peter Dutton said he didn't believe the comments were directed at Australia. But at who? Is this a Rita? Or what's wrong with this guy? Or he's just playing dumb? What? Oh my God. No, it was not directed towards us. No, no, no. But whom? Let's go see who. Who else? Who's the closest? Who's the one who said the red lines? Who? Was it France? Was it Romania? Was it Ukraine? Was it Russia? No. Man, these guys, they really think that they deal with 13-year-old teenagers here with an IQ lower than 86. Unbelievable. And they said, Australia, which had defense forces and police personnel in the Solomon Islands, so he didn't believe that the comments were directed at Australia. So we have, I can't understand the pressure the Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare is under at the moment, but in Australia, as he said, he finds a good friend. Dutton said, a good friend. A good friend if you do what I'm telling you to do, otherwise smack, smack. You haven't been asked to withdraw, he added. We haven't been asked to withdraw, he added. I don't know, withdraw from what? The security pact has become a major election issue for Morrison, who faces opposition party criticism, blah, 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 that it made Australia less safe and was a major failing of diplomacy by his government. Western allies are concerned that it could provide a getaway for the Chinese military presence in the Pacific. Well, there you go. So, and then we have here the Prime Minister Sogavare criticized Australia for referring to the Pacific as its backyard, saying this was an insult term in local culture. Yes, Western imperialism. Oh my God. Where backyard are used to keep chickens, pigs, and rubbish. Good job, man. I'm telling you, these guys who are our leaders are so average, mediocre at best. At best. They didn't even know by saying that could be interpreted by those guys over there. But nevertheless, you can't, to be honest, you don't know who's insulted by what. You can't say anything right now because someone will feel insulted that in my mind that is this, my interpretation is that. So every time you say something, it's going to be, perceived as by someone like that. So I gave, the Australia, what could they've done? The idea that that's our backyard is the same thing as the Russians said about Ukraine. So why is Australia entitled to have such claims, but Ukraine is not? Ukraine, Russia is not. Double standard, much. So this guy, the Prime Minister Sogavare, made the invasion comment during a parliament debate and in response to criticism of the security pact from his country's opposition parties, provincial leaders and local media. So you already know who's on whose side. So we have here provincial leaders, opposition parties, and local medias on that side, and this guy on the other side. All right. We hold that. Asked why he had not spoken to Sogavare directly since the pact was signed, he, what's his name, Doolan or whatever his name is, unbelievable, Dutton, he told reporters, I am following very carefully the advice we get from our security intelligence advices. Well, Solomon Islands Foreign Minister Jeremiah Manele said that the China pact does not undermine our security agreement with Australia. Yeah, what's your problem, man? Because you think the Australian politicians think that they own Solomon Islands. That's what it is. And they protect them like they're like a little brother over there. Remember that analogy with the little brother? We need little kids. We need to protect them. Therefore, we tell them what to do. That's an insult. It is. But nevertheless, they have joined treaties with Australia of security. Now they have another partner. Well, that's capitalism in foreign policy, isn't it? Uh, what do you want? You have options, you take them. As I said, you don't have, allies are temporary in foreign policy. Temporary is based on your country's interest. And friends, you don't have friends. You have only people that you get together with to achieve your goals. Friends is just for us, just to melt our hearts. Oh, these are our friends. That friendship can turn into hatred very quickly if some people decide to do so. Um, I remember a guy said in the 1920s that he was astonished how the mass media, how much power had then, the newspapers in those times when he said, in a week, the mass media can make from the lousiest, mediocre person the greatest defenders of truth, love, and strength and patriotism, and from the most able person in a week could be destroyed and you've forgotten about. So if that was in 1920s, imagine what's going on right now when they have access to more population than they have in the 20s. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See ya.